Hello fashion lovers, welcome to the channel. Today's fashion DIY will be on how to make this beautiful place suit you can see displayed on the screen, and the material I used for this is called Ankara fabric, and I used 3.5 yards to achieve this. Although the amount of fabric you'll be needing to make this will depend on the measurement you are working with. And if you're new to this channel, I would like to say thank you for stopping by. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'll be drafting this on my pattern paper first before transferring it on my fabric. But you can go ahead and draft directly on your fabric. I'll be drafting this on my pattern paper first for the purpose of clarity. And the measurement you're going to be needing to make this play suit is a shoulder measurement, your bust measurement, your half length, your waist circumference, and the length, the full length of the play suit. So the first thing I will do, I'll be folding my pattern paper in a triangular form like this. So the amount of fabric or paper you will fold will depend on your measurements and how wide you want the leg of the jumpsuit to be. So I'll just fold this in a triangular form like this, and from this folded end I'll be marking 3 inches. I'll be going in by 3 inches from the top of my paper. So I'll be going in by 3 inches. Marking out 3 inches like this, the next thing to do is to place your waist measurement, that is your waist circumference, and you'll be dividing your waist circumference by 4. So my waist circumference divided by 4 is 8 inches. So 8 inches, and I'll be adding 1 inch for my sewing allowance. So 8 inches plus 1 inch will give me 9 inches. So I'll just look for where 9 inches is, and I'll be marking 9 inches. So from this point where I have my 9 inches, I'll make a straight line. So from this point to this point is my waist circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch sewing allowance. So after marking out the waistline, the next thing to do is to mark out the crotch length. You'll be marking out the crotch length from this line. And to get your crotch length for your trouser is your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1. So my hip measurement divided by 4 is 10 inches plus 1, that is 11 inches. So my actual crotch length for my trouser is 11 inches, but I'm not going to stop at 11 inches. I'll be adding extra 4 inches because this is a jumpsuit and a very free one at that. So you can use 3 inches. 3 inches is perfectly fine, but I'll be using 4 inches because I want this to be very free around the crotch area. So after adding the extra 3 or 4 inches, at this point where you added your extra inches, just come out by 2 inches. Come out by 2 inches for your crotch extension. So you can use your curve ruler or your free hand to just make your curve. So after marking out the crotch extension, the next thing to do is to take the length of the pants. So remember, this is a jumpsuit and we are yet to cut out the half length of our jumpsuit. So what I will do from this point, I'll be minusing my half length. My half length is 16 inches. So I'll be placing my tape. Here. I'll be taking my measurement from this 16 inches. So this is me just minusing the half length. So from this point, I'll be marking out the full length of my jumpsuit. So the full length of this jumpsuit is 38 inches. 38 inches. I'll be adding 1 inch for the folding allowance. marking the full length of my pants. So the next thing I'll do, I'll place my tape at the beginning of this mark, and I'll measure to where I marked my full length, and everything is 34 inches. So I'll be marking 34 inches like this, just the way we do when we want to cut our flare. You know, this is a flare pant, so I'll be cutting it just the way we cut our flare. So I'll be taking my tape round like this, as if I want to cut flare. So this is how I'll be marking till I get to the end of my pattern. So after curving like this, the next thing to do, I'll be extending my crouch extension down to the length of my jumpsuit. So before cutting, at this point, I'll just go in by 1/2 inch and connect. So this is just for the front part. So after doing this, I'll go ahead and cut this out. So before cutting out the crouch, I'll be adding 1/2 inch for sewing allowance, and remember we've already added 1 inch for our sewing, for the side sewing allowance. So I'll be marking out 1/2 inch for the sewing allowance around the crouch. Please go ahead and add this 1/2 inch before cutting out the crouch. Very important, please. So after cutting, this is what we have. So remember, this is just the front part of the jumpsuit. I'll be transferring this to my fabric before cutting the back part of the jumpsuit. So remember, my fabric is on fold, so I'll just place my pattern on my fabric and cut out. So after cutting out the front part, I'll take out my pattern and I'll just keep this aside. So the next thing to do is to cut out the back part of this trouser. So I'll be using the same pattern to cut out the back part of this jumpsuit, but I'll be making some alteration just at the crouch extension. So for the back part, I'll be extending the crouch extension by 2.5 inches. So just go ahead and extend by 2.5 inches. So after extending the crouch by 2.5 inches, just go ahead and cut out. So after cutting the front and the back like this, the next thing I'll do, I'll take this to my sewing machine and I'll sew from this point to this point, and I'll repeat the same thing on the front part. I'll be sewing this just by 1/2 inch. So after joining the crotch for the front and the back, so the next thing, I'll take this back to my sewing machine and I'll be joining the front and the back together. I'll just place this right side facing right side. So before joining the sides, I'll be fixing my pocket. So I've gone ahead to cut out the pieces for my pocket, and the measurement I have here is 10 inches by 12 inches. I have 4 4 pieces of this, so I'll be using that for the pocket. So before fixing the pocket, I'll just, from the waist point, I'll just come down by 2 inches. So I'll be fixing my pocket from this 2 inches. So I'll just take this to my sewing machine and fix the pockets before joining the sides. After fixing the pieces of the pockets like this, go ahead and bring the front and the back together just like this. And I'll be closing the sides by 1 inch. Remember, we left 1 inch for the sewing allowance, so I'll be closing the sides like this. After joining the 2 sides together, after joining the front and the back together, the next thing to do is to sew the other side of the leg. So make sure these 2 points are meeting, bring them together like this. So from this point to this point. So the lower part of the jumpsuit is ready. So this is the lower part of the jumpsuit. So the next thing I will do, I'll go ahead and cut out the upper part of the jumpsuit. So for the upper part, I'll just go ahead and create the basic bodies. So go ahead and mark out your basic bodies and the half length you are working with. So the half length I'm working with is 16 inches. I'll be adding 1 inch for the sewing allowance. So I've gone ahead to create the basic bodies. So this is the front part of my basic bodies. So just go ahead and cut out your basic bodies. Very simple. So the next thing I'll do, I'll be using the front part of my bodies to cut the back parts of the basic bodies. So before cutting, I'll be leaving an allowance of 1 inch for my zipper. So the neck, the measurement I use for the neck for the front is 3 inches by 3.5 inches. So but I'll be using 3 inches by 1.5 inch at the back. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So after cutting the front and the back bodies, so before taking this to my sewing machine, at the waist point, I'll just go in by 1/2 inch and I'll connect to the top like this. So this is to prevent the zipper from bulging. So I'll just go ahead and trim this a little. So just go in by 1/2 inch at the waist point and just connect to the top like this and trim out. After cutting this, I'll be cutting out the facing for the neck. So this is just the facing to turn in the neck. So before cutting out the facing for the front, there's a little opening at the front of the top. So I'll just come down by 3 inches. You can make yours lower or higher depending on your preference. So after cutting this open, I'll go ahead and cut out the facing for the front neck. After cutting out the facing, I'll be using it to turn the neck of my blouse. So just go ahead and do what you can see me doing. So I'll just take this to my sewing machine. I will sew from this point down to this point to the other end, and I will be repeating the same thing on the back bodies. So after using the facing to turn in the neck, I also went ahead to hold the darts. So after preparing this like this, the next thing to do is to join the front and the back together. So just place the front and the back together, right side facing right side. So I'll be holding the two sides, I'll be joining the two sides with 1 inch or whichever allowance you are using. So just go ahead and just join the two sides, and go ahead also to join the shoulders. So after joining the two sides and also the shoulders, the next thing is to attach the top to the down part. You can see this is forming already. So the next thing to do is to attach the front and the down together. So I'll just open up the up like this. Remember, the zip area is still open because we are going to fix zipper at the back. So I'll open up the zipper area at the back of the trouser or the pants. So I'll just open this up to where I want my zip to stop. So after doing this, I'll be joining the up and the down together. So I'll just get the center of the up. I'll get the center parts of this. So this is the center of the waist. So I'll bring this waist to waist together, right side facing right side, and I'll be sewing this round. So make sure this joining, just make sure they are meeting. So if they are not meeting, know that you have altered your measurements. So please make the necessary correction before you continue sewing. So I'll be sewing this round. After joining the up and the down part together, I'll go ahead and fix my zipper. So go ahead and fix the zip at the back of the jumpsuit. So I've gone ahead to fix the zipper. So the next thing to do is to fix the sleeve. So to fix the sleeve, we'll be using the slash and spread method, but you can use any sleeve of your choice. So I'll be using the slash and spread method to cut my sleeve. So to get the slash and spread sleeve, the first thing you need to do is to get your basic sleeve pattern. After cutting out your basic sleeve pattern, just go ahead and slash the basic sleeve like this. So after slashing my basic sleeve, I'll place my fabric on fold, and I'll place the slashed sleeve on my folded fabric. So I'll be spreading this on my fabric. So you are going to spread this according to how wide you want your sleeve to be. So I'll just spread it like this. So after spreading the sleeve like this, just hold it down with something and cut out. So after cutting, we have something like this. I'll be using this to cut out the other sleeve. So after cutting out the sleeves, go ahead and fix the sleeve just the way you fix your basic sleeve. And this is the final look of the jumpsuit. So let me know what you think about this tutorial in the comment section, and if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe to this channel to see more videos on fashion DIYs. Thanks for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.